looking back now, I realized that like I was just a man who got castrated. When we share our stories, we're getting labeled Nazis and fascists.
No.
Yeah, it's accused us of genocide,
Genocide?
trans kids, and I got accused of genocide of trans women for just speaking out about my issues. They're saying that you were never really trans, yet nobody can define what is
No one
trans.
can, no.
From what I understand now, sometimes medical transition can act as a placebo.
Hi guys, it's Misha and welcome back to my channel. So today I have a guest.
Hi everyone, my name is Shay. Thank you for raising awareness and bringing attention to detransitioners because it's been a community that I became part of 6 months ago when I started attempting to detransition.
Right.
And I want to highlight that we're attempting. In certain cases, full detransition is not possible, depending how far you've gone with your transition. If you've taken hormones and surgeries, it may not be possible to revert fully back, which is my case. Started transitioning 10 years ago, identifying as trans. I grew up in Eastern Europe. I never knew anything about trans issues. I grew up in a very strict country where gender roles very divided and specific.
Right,
masculine things that are very masculine, and female and girly things that are very girly. And growing up, early on, I knew I was gay and I was very effeminate, and that's why I was bullied for my femininity, and I didn't know where I fit in. But never did it cross my mind that I was born in the wrong body. I had ideas maybe that my life would have been better because I was so feminine when I compared myself to other men.
Right.
I felt so far off. I was just living as a gay person. But then when I went to graduate school up in Massachusetts, that's when we had non-binary people on campus, and we had already a person who's been fully transitioned. I always had this inner desire to present more feminine, all of my hair has that innate desire. And once I got my freedom in the United States, I was growing out my hair, but people started asking me my pronouns, and immediately I started researching, what transgender meant, and right away I was convinced I was a trans woman because I started singing to my childhood, and I realized I was so naturally feminine. I never fit in with boys, and I liked things that would be usually considered feminine. Back then we didn't have many examples like we have now on YouTube, Jeffree Star, James Charles, that was 10 years ago. So I had no awareness of that. Plus I still internalize a lot of homophobia because I grew up in a homophobic country. People are religious and they think that gay is abomination, and they think that it's a choice. So the minute I was able to ID my way out of my homosexuality, I latched onto it. Transition for me was easy because I was naturally very feminine. So the minute I started wearing more feminine clothes, I don't want to call it cross-dressing because that's kind of sexist too, because as time goes by we change definition of what's feminine and what's masculine. I was passable pretty easily, and I was able to get on hormones very quickly in Boston at Fenway Health, but right away as I got on estrogen, my mental health wasn't that great. It was deteriorating, but I attributed it all to being in the wrong body, and I felt like I needed surgeries to be my authentic self, and I ended up fast tracking my transition. I got breast surgery right away, facial work.
And did you seek therapy before getting the surgeries?
My therapy literally was only a few, I think 12 sessions.
Wow.
I didn't need therapy for breast and face work, but I never brought up childhood trauma. Granted, I came from Eastern Europe. The country I grew up in, mental health is not really looked at unless you're legit.
There's a lot of stigma in Eastern Europe.
So I had no mental health prior to that, and that's the only time I got any mental health, just to get those letters. But it was an activist hospital, so they were going to affirm me no matter what. So the minute I decided I was trans, nothing that could have been done.
So they didn't explore the idea that it could have been past trauma or body dysmorphia?
I did not know any of this. I did not know word body dysmorphia until earlier this year.
Wow.
I had no clue.
Yeah.
It was just insane, and I just never felt why none of my issues went away. Why do I feel so sad? I just want everyone to know that surgeons don't have incentive to get it right because they get paid for all the visits, they get paid for first surgery, all the revision.
Big pharma too.
Big pharma, because I'm now a medical patient till the rest of my life. I have to take hormones. Testosterone is very expensive. It's $160 for my testosterone gel copay, and whatever was my insurance. Some things that my body was naturally producing, I have to pay for now. I feel better on testosterone. And I was just talking to my endocrinologist, and unfortunately I can't go too high up on my testosterone because it's traumatic without functional genitals, because my sex drive is going up with testosterone. It's also been good to not have so much brain fog and have some energy and reduce my anxiety a little bit. So that's where I'm at. I'm just taking it one day at a time. I feel like the whole transition is kind of sexist, the whole notion of it and passability, but at the time that's how it was. You know, this was the OG transitioners that were trying to pass as a stereotype of opposite sex. A lot of people accuse me that I'm not real detrans because of the way I look, but detransition is more like a mindset. It takes a lot of introspection and inner work.
Yeah, and those are the same people that are saying that a man doesn't have to look a certain way.
It keeps on perpetuating toxic stereotypes.
Exactly.
To have a benchmark for transition.
Yeah.
So I think it will just be healthier moving forward if people would just stop adopting all those crazy labels.
Men can be caring for the children at home, for example. That doesn't mean that they have to transition into a woman or something like that. There can be feminine men, masculine women, especially in places like Eastern Europe. You know, you and I know this, but the stereotypes are very set in place. And if you stray away from that, there's something wrong with you automatically. And I think that mindset is very dangerous. So
yeah, and I think that's what pushed me into transition because I didn't feel like I could present the way I wanted. A few months later, I was getting vaginoplasty, which is, I guess, penile inversion would be a more accurate description. And right off the bat, I had complications. No matter how much I dilated, it kept on shutting down because my body was treating it as a wound. And I had multiple revisions since, including colon vaginoplasty. And all those revisions failed, and right now I'm unable to have penetrative sex. And actually, my mental health deteriorated since. Looking back now, I realized that like I was just a man who got castrated, and I couldn't even be in the room by myself. I had so much anxiety. Wow, like this did so much damage, like getting rid of my testosterone.
Right.
I've been brain fogged for years, had no sex drive. What's the point of looking like a beautiful woman, I guess, when you're not really interested anymore in sex, nor you can really have it the way you've been dreaming of and the way I've been wanting to have it, you know? And I'm still struggling with internalized homophobia. And a few months ago, I hit the rock bottom with my mental health, and I reached out to a new therapist, and I started realizing I had all this trauma from childhood, like related to my femininity and other issues, other mental issues that never really been addressed for transition. And as I started like researching more detransitioners, and I realized all they had all kinds of issues as well, mental health issues.
Yeah.
And a lot of them through transitions, they didn't solve any of those issues. From what I understand now, sometimes medical transition can act as a placebo. And for some people it can last, you know, a few years, a few months, a lifetime. But for me, things weren't right after the surgery, and now that I've talked to other detransitioners, some of them missing breasts, like females that thought they were men, they'll never be able to breastfeed their children, have this motherly feeling. For them it was just a phase, you know?
Yeah.
But they lost their mammary glands.
You mentioned you felt that it would have been easier in life if you were born a woman, like when you were younger. It's different to hear that than someone saying, I felt like my body isn't matching my brain, you know, like body dysphoria, where this is more of a societal issue for you.
Dysphoria, for sure. Because society made me feel like there was something wrong with me, and that's why I tried to fit in. Internalized homophobia, all that like pushed me down the transition path, which I now regret, and I can't get back my body parts. I'm not alone. A lot of people are missing body parts, and they're regretting it. There's this dangerous narrative in transgender ideologies that you can reverse the surgery. It's like not a big deal. You had double mastectomy, you can get implants. People message me every day, just go get phalloplasty. Phalloplasty doesn't work. It's not easy. They pretty much take skin and put implant in it, and it's just like, I know so many F2M trans people who had phalloplasty and had all kinds of complications, way more than anyone with vaginoplasty. Being part of the trans community, we're like minority within minority, and we're dealing with a lot of health issues. Not only none of our mental issues have been solved, plus some of us now dealing with real physical issues. I have osteoporosis. I know people who can't pee properly. Some people don't know if they'll be able to get pregnant because they were on testosterone. A lot of people lost their singing voices, speaking voices. Now they don't pass as women, even though they are biological women. It's very traumatizing. I'm really worried for my community because this community is just emerging. A lot of us don't know where to seek medical and mental help because a lot of us don't trust anymore the system. The system let us down, but also a lot of trans surgeons shun us because they don't want to work with us because we're a detransitioner. We're considered problematic patients. And my heart is breaking for my community that people have to start GoFundMes and beg for money for now reconstructive surgery. Which before they didn't need even the surgeries. They could have just gotten some mental health help or could have waited it out and gotten over the phase.
And people are so quick to provide others, like, what are they, chest binders? I always see this, right? And they want to have this GoFundMe for the surgery, the initial surgery. They're so quick to give money to those people. But then when they want to detransition, it's like, well, you're on your own.
Right, so left media completely ignores us. Thank God for YouTubers like you and other YouTubers that have been giving detransitioners platform to speak out about these issues. Unfortunately, transgender umbrella has been expanded so big that it doesn't really mean anything.
No.
Yeah, like transgender, like it really doesn't mean anything. People just will throw in a wig and call themselves trans and change their paperwork and access to women's spaces, not even planning to take any hormones or even get any surgeries. And at this point, a lot of people who have other mental issues are struggling with body image issues. Things are trans, like I realized I had body dysmorphia because no matter how much I kept on modifying my body, I didn't feel sexy or I didn't feel comfortable in my own body. I still don't. A lot of body dysmorphia symptoms can be confused for gender dysphoria. But right now, unfortunately, therapists cannot push back on patients because it's labeled transphobic.
Kids especially, kids should not be transitioning.
And now any pushback is considered like conversion therapy.
Right.
And it's already been banned in Canada. Like, and some therapists that really want to help people that are struggling, they're afraid to lose their license. Trans community often tries to dismiss and silence detransitioners. And I think the whole transgender movement set back the whole gender nonconformity notion.
Yeah.
And the whole, like, even gay rights in a way, because at this point, trans rights is at the front of everything. And a lot of allies, especially you're pretty young, people your age, they just pile on and they try to be supportive and they think they will hold a sign save trans kids, yet none of them really know any trans kids. I think they're just trying to do what seems like progressive thing to do, but in fact transition is rooted in regressive stereotypes.
Yeah, exactly. We hear this a lot with non-binary people especially, which now they also claim that they're trans. I don't know if you've seen that, and they get like surgeries as well, top surgery, which is crazy. You know, then you want to detransition. You've already had the surgeries.
It's a very serious medical issue that should not be glamorized. Trans can be beautiful, but it can also be really difficult, especially when you're dealing with lifelong health issues after medical transition. I have osteoporosis right now and my back hurts every day. I move my implants and I will never get my original chest back. So in a way, I'm now on F2M spectrum in a way. I figure it out and navigate what I can and cannot undo.
Yeah, and like you said, trans can be beautiful. For some people, it's definitely the right decision, but people need to see both sides. You know, with people like you who are detransitioning, it's so weird that people are attempting to hide that. I think it's amazing work that you're doing and speaking up about this. I think it's very important.
I was just in Florida and we testified against transitioning, radicalization of kids. We literally had former trans kids testifying. We had people holding like Save Trans Kids signs, and it's like, are you not hearing what people
They're so brainwashed, you know, and I feel like a lot of them think they're doing the right thing. I think that they are somehow, there's this thing that you hear a lot where would you rather have a dead son or a living daughter, but it's such brainwashing. They're not even showing the other side of what could potentially happen medically.
Emotionally manipulative. And a lot of parents are brainwashed as well. That's what they need to do for their kids to give them a better life. I don't think parents are aware that you can't just go change your sex.
No.
I also was sold a sex reassignment surgery, but my sex is still male, and going against my biology did so much damage. I was part of ideology and I was believed that there was no difference between me and other women. I think that's what society doesn't know. They think that it's 2022, you must be super advanced, you just go in, get a new part, it works amazing, you just have sex, enjoy yourself. It wasn't like that for me, and it wasn't like that for a lot of people I know.
Right.
And also very few trans women, I guess, get bottom surgery, but yet they're advocating for this to be available. And that's where the problem lies. I feel like unless you've gotten the bottom surgery, you shouldn't be advocating for it.
Exactly. I think doctors in America in general, not just relating to transgenderism, they aim to treat problems and illnesses rather than prevent them.
It's not just a trans issue. I think seeing all these Instagram models with pumped bodies really affected a lot of girls. They felt like they couldn't fit that stereotype of femininity. And that's why they chose to transition, you know, just to realize that they were just a special, like, they were their own person. You don't have to have a giant butt on Instagram to be a woman, you know? Plastic surgeries are just dangerous in general. They can have complications, and try to have a healthier new generation.
Exactly, and I think we were going in that direction. And then we have all of these trans people saying, no, you're transphobic if you don't want kids getting surgery.
Everything is transphobic.
Everything.
Kids are transphobic.
Everything.
Thank you so much for having me and giving me a platform.
Of course.
I appreciate everything that you do, because new generation needs somebody to look up to that does their own thing. You know, one thing I've learned from the detransitioner community is not fall into like hive mind, and I think it's important for you what you do and stay in your own lane, so a younger generation of people can look up to you. and be able to think for themselves.
Thank you so much, and thank you for speaking up about this. And I will definitely link your channel in the description.
Thank you,
right?
guys.
Go check it out, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.
Bye.